So this is蟹黄crab roll. It's almost like the caviar of crabs. Many species of crabs tend to fatten up in fall and winter. Now from king crab to Dungeness crab. And the 大闸蟹 Chinese mitten crab is no exception. There's a Chinese saying that goes 秋风响蟹脚痒, literally meaning when the autumn wind blows, the crab legs itch. Now the first half is easy to understand. The second half is a bit tricky. The crab here mainly refers to the 大闸蟹 Chinese mitten crab. Nowadays these crabs are mainly raised in freshwater lakes, most famously the Liangjiang Lake here in Suzhou. But before the prevalence of crab fisheries, the wild mitten crabs would return from freshwater areas to the sea to breed in autumn, so they would get itchy feet during this time of the year. Catch my drift? So that's one theory behind the adage anyway. But what does that really mean? It means get ready for crab season, baby. The restaurant is called Li百蟹, literally Li the 100 crabs. You could tell by the name it's a place for crab lovers. There's actually some history behind this name, as briefly mentioned on this poster. I'll leave the details in the description section. Also seen on this poster is Tu Hongyao, one of the specialties here and a gastronomic emblem of Suzhou and neighbors. Well, many Suzhou locals will tell you that they've never heard of the monstrosity until a few years ago. I admit, the delicacy's historicity is iffy. Supposedly it's a modern revival of some ancient recipe. Or maybe it's just a marketing ploy, but if that's the case, victimize me any day. It's an extravagant way to enjoy Chinese mitten crabs, as there's a monstrous amount of manual labor involved. That's why if Tu Hongyao ever existed in those bygone days, it would have only existed on the tables of the affluent. What is Tu Hongyao anyway? It's actually quite a perplexing term for non-locals. The meaning as understood in Suzhou dialect is pure yellow fat, referring to crab roe and crab roe only. Well, in practice, it's like 24K gold, 99.9% purity. Speckles of meat always find their way in. Not to mention you actually have to saute the crab roe in lard and with other ingredients like chopped ginger. So this is 蟹黄 crab roe. It's luscious, it's potent, it's almost like the caviar of crabs. Just a little bit will go a long way. The crabs themselves are rather expensive pound for pound. Here's an incomplete and unscientific comparison between king crab and Chinese mitten crab with many variables omitted, but it should give you a rough idea of prices at the respective local restaurants. This is a 1.1 kg king crab from Zuma at Vladivostok. It costed us 2,200 rubles or around 200 renminbi. This is a 250-gram mitten crab from Zhuge Xieyuan on the shore of Yangcheng Lake. It costed us 154 RMB. So its unit price is about 3 times higher than king crab. For Tu Hongyao, you gotta add the painstaking crab roll picking labor too. There are factories that produce Tu Hongyao, but it's still a manual process. That's why foodies refer to this as liquid gold. Rightfully so, it does taste golden. This restaurant didn't label the item as Tu Hongyao, but it's essentially what that is. I've had it numerous times in the past. It's one of those autumn habits for me. Love this load of crab roll. If crab roll is yellow gold, then crab spermery is white gold. And this is called xiegao, or literally crab paste. Technically, this paste is the spermery of male crabs, but at restaurants, this paste often includes the nearby organ of tomali as well. To what? Tomali actually functions like the pancreas and liver, so similar to the hepatopancreas in other crustaceans like the crawfish. So that would be the crawfish butter for y'all seafood boil fanatics out there. The crawfish butter is called 虾膏, or literally shrimp paste in Chinese. Surely you see a connection there. Personally, I enjoy xiegao crab paste more than xiehuang crab roe. I find the flavor less powerful but more lasting. It doesn't give you the rush, but it coats the mouth and leaves a gentle, lingering aftertaste. A set meal came with xie crab meat, which were picked from the body and claws, and these little rods of crab leg meat, xie liu. Together, the quartet constituted topping for the rice and or noodles, which came with free refills, and there were surprisingly soft chicken feet too.
We had enough topping for another round of rice, but I'd rather put them all into a bowl chock full of goodness.
And picking the meat in a crab is a very labor-intensive process, so I'm leaving nothing to waste.
Some would scoff at this lavish way to eat crabs, berating foods like tuhongyao as gimmicks. I'd rather see this as a tribute to a local delicacy and a befitting iteration of the sophistication Suzhou folks are well known for. We also paid tribute to the crustacean and cracked some ourselves. Jiangnan Huadiao Zhuixian, Jiangnan Huadiao wine drunken crabs. You could tell these were made with the Shuzhui cooked drunken method instead of the Shengzhui raw drunken technique because of the shell's characteristic orange color. And you could tell these were male mitten crabs because of the dense patches of hair on the claws. That little whitish gall is a xiegao spermary. The restaurant serves ginger tea, which has a hot property to offset the crab's coldness in terms of traditional Chinese medicine. They brew this with black tea made from biluochun, a famous local variety I introduced in the previous video. After one final sip of the tea, we proceeded to our next destination, Huqiu Tiger Hill, hoping to see the slopes blanketed in golden leaves like a tiger covered in its orange fur. But the thing is, fall has been pushed way back this year. Treetops have barely changed into autumn colors, Chinese mitten crabs have not matured as early, and Guihua sweet scented osmanthus have only started to blossom and emit their sweet scent. Of course, it was still a gorgeous place on a gorgeous day. Tiger Hill is famed as Wuzhong Diishan, number 1 hill of Wuzhong. Suzhou has a Wuzhong district, but here the epithet may also be interpreted as center of Wu Kingdom, an ancient state founded in 12th century BC and based in the Suzhou Wuxi region. Main sites in the Tiger Hill scenic zone are several centuries younger. The area is believed to be the resting ground of He Li, who might have been buried here in 496 BC by his son Fu Chai, the last ruler of the Wu Kingdom. Legend has it that He Li was interred here in what is now known as Jinshi, Sword Pond, so named because the crevice looks like it was carved by a giant sword and because of a legendary grave goods stash including 3,000 swords. The burial remains a mystery as excavations were called off due to risks of toppling the symbolical and visible treasure above, the pagoda of Yunyan Temple, Yunyan Sita. Nicknamed 中国斜塔 Leaning Tower of China, the wooden-framed brick-bodied structure is less tilted, shorter, and lighter but also centuries older than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Not only has it survived various warfares and eons of weathering with minimal add-ons and renovations, but has also preserved numerous relics within, including this 10th century Celadon bowl, which is now a centerpiece at the Suzhou Museum. Temperature has dropped by the time you're watching this video, and maybe Tiger Hill has begun to turn golden. I got plans to visit forests renowned for autumn colors. Hopefully those plans will come to fruition. 再见!